Hey, it's Jeff with the ID10T Garage. We're here working on the Torino today. And in this episode, we're going to go ahead and continue working on the floors. We're basically going to go ahead and really start focusing on the passenger side and getting the torque box repaired and getting some other rusted metal cut out and getting some supports in there, working on that floor and toe board, and just working in that general area to start getting things fitted and ready to weld in. It's going to be a lot of work, but let's get to it.
Ice in my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping off, singing straight, never stop.
Hey guys, about to get back to work on the Torino. So now that we got most of the passenger side floors out, I'm going to work a little bit more on the driver's side. I just want to, see how bad it is on this side, and also just kind of have a reference. If the torque box is decent on this side, I can use it kind of as a reference to see how everything's supposed to be configured. So I figure I'd go ahead and at least get the toe boards and maybe the floor pan out of this side and see what we have. So time to get to work. Alright, so we've got this disassembled for the most part. I mean, there's still a lot more cutting, but now I've got a good reference point. I know about where things should be for the other side. So now I'm going to go back to the other side and start cleaning up the metal and cutting away the rest of the rot to get it where I can start getting my piece of 14 gauge ready to get in there and fit the way it needs to add the structure back. So later. Alright, so we're about to call it a day. I got this 14 gauge metal fit in pretty decently. I've got to change this a little bit. It needs to come over about another ½ inch on that bend to match up to where it's supposed to be. But for the most part, I think I've got it fitting where I want it to fit. I still got to, trim the top and mesh it up a little bit better. But for the most part, it's where it's going to be. And it's nice thick 14 gauge, so it'll really reinforce this once I get it ready. I'll probably make a couple brackets is what I'm thinking. Is I'll make some pretty nice thick L brackets to put on the sides. That way I'm not just welding a corner. I don't want to just try to push through this thicker metal, so I'll probably get some 14 gauge and make brackets on the bottom pieces. That way I get a weld all the way through, and then we'll see from there. But it's a good day's work. Got that floor out pretty decently. I mean, obviously there's a lot of carnage still to deal with, but it was a good reference point, and now I can kind of get this set where I want it based on looking at that side a little bit better. So slowly but surely. Alright everybody, I'm back out here working on the Torino. Basically going to start working more on the torque box. Just keep on getting the fitment right, get it bolted in place, clean up more welds and smooth things out to start getting it where it's going to go. And maybe we'll get to some weld through primer. I don't know, there's a lot of spots I still got to work on, so there's a lot of cleanup to do. So mostly doing that, and we'll see how far we get. Alright, I think I'm going to call it a day. I got some fitment done. I got the toe board kind of fitted. I cut out some more rot from over here, which I'll have to replace before this toe board's welded in. Obviously we're not even close to doing that, but I wanted to get the toe board kind of fitted so I could really see where this brace is supposed to fit. I also made myself a bracket right here that I've got a couple screw holes that it lines up with. And this is basically the to basically fit the bracket for the seats. So I went ahead and pulled that out after I made this bracket, and basically this will be my alignment jig. That way I get that where it's supposed to be. But I mean, mostly did a little bit of grinding. I didn't even actually record myself doing the toe board work because I shut off, was going to take lunch, and then I couldn't stop. So I fit the toe board real quick and while off camera. So still, I mean, there's a lot to do, obviously, but we're making progress. I test fit the floor pans with this, and it looks like I'm gonna have gaps here, so I'm gonna have to fix that, of course, with the own patches. But I mean, with this in place, once I get it structurally sound, I mean, we'll put the floor pan on here, and then we can make our piece there. I'm probably gonna have the same thing in this area in general. These floor pans are all right, but I mean, when you have rot, you never know what's going to match up and what's not. So I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I have the floor pans not quite where they're supposed to be. Maybe they're not at the right angle, but they are fitting up against the side piece. So I'm pretty happy with them in general. I mean, I got the bevels or indentions lined up pretty well. So, I mean, all in all, it'll be there eventually. It's just a matter of getting things the where they're supposed to be. But that's it for the day. Later. You know, I said I was done for the day, but I ate a little food and I was like, man, I got more grinding to do. So I'm back out here. So about to do some more grinding. I'm just trying to get these panels to fit right. And I've done a lot of research, and I'm always trying to make sure I know where the panel's supposed to go. Usually you have a reference point, but with this car, because it's been patched so many times, like I can't really tell where the floor pan was supposed to go. Well, I did some research and looked online, and I can tell now that the top lip of the floor pan stays with the top lip. So it's pretty easy, but on my car there's like multiple lips going multiple ways, some going on an angle, some, you know, doing all sorts of crazy stuff. There's too many patches to tell where the hell everything is, so I have to go online and try to find a reference to see exactly where these floor pans are supposed to line up and get going. So I'm going to do some more grinding, that way I can smooth out the lip where your seals, where you're right here where normally your door sills go. So there's a lot of nasty weld on here on mine. To show you, see, there's just all sorts of nastiness, and I've been getting a lot of this stuff off, but I really am going to have to get the flap disc out and grind all this nastiness away. So that's what I'm about to do. Later. Alright, now I'm done for the day. I grinded this whole little area down so I could get my lip flat up against here, fit it. Looks like I'm going to have a good gap that I'll have to fill in, but we'll still have to see once I get the support bracket and I can fit it back in. But for the most part, I mean, we got a gap right there. I'm going to have to pull the toe board up a little bit right here, but that's probably just bent down. So it's not attached right there at that lower section, so that's no big deal. And then we're gonna have to push this down, obviously, to match up, but that's all malleable, you know, we can get that done. So either way, at least we know the floorboard will fit. So peace out. Here we go again. So I'm about to remove these floor pans and get back to work on the torque box. I spent a lot of time on that yesterday, even came out here a few times and adjusted things. But back to work on the torque box. So we got this fit. Basically, I'm just going to mark where all my holes are that I need to use. But we've got that pretty much set in point. So once we finish our torque box, we can put these in and, you know, clean things up and just weld it. So either way, back to work. Alright, got a little bit of work done. Made a piece to fit in there so I can patch that up. Also bent a little square tubing that I'll use for a support structure for the front of the torque box, and to get some more structure to this what I call a frame rail, but could floor support. And that's pretty much going to be it for the day. I've been going at it for 3 days in a row, and need to take a bit of a break. Worn out, so that is all for now. Hey, thanks everybody for tuning into this week's episode. As you can see, we got a lot of fabrication work to do. Got a lot of metal cutting and fitting. It's just a matter of making sure we got everything cleaned up and ready to weld in before we get there. Got to fit it multiple times, adjust, fit, adjust, go find the other spots that need to be fixed, and just keep going from there. We'll get there, but hopefully next week we'll start doing a little bit of welding. I'm really focused on the passenger side to start with, since it's the worst. So I want to get some structure in there and get it good to go. So in the meantime, like, subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next week.
In my veins, I've been driving this train. Years in this lane, there's no stopping this flame. Cause I came to the game and I changed it to play how I like, rearranged it to my own domain. Yeah, I got what it takes, made lots of mistakes, taking shots, skipping breaks, feeling lost, feeling great, popping out.